Well, Rhonda, congratulations. Yesterday you told me you've been watching the NBA draft closely since 2010. Now that you're here and the number one pick, how does it compare to what you dreamed?
You're in the background.
York, New York, big city of dreams. New York, New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from Nick of Time Show. Here, give you that Knicks talk just in the nick of time, and we're here just in time for the start of the New York Knicks draft, or the NBA Live draft. And we're going to give it to you from the Knicks perspective, and we're going to talk about our favorite picks at 11, talking about if we can even trade up for the fourth pick, and talk about what's going on live right now with the draft. But before we get into that and the details of this pick, let me quickly introduce my guest. First and foremost, you already know what it is. It's the man, the myth, the legend, the guy with the stats and the facts.
Ryan G's in the building. Oh boy, that was crazy. But yeah, Ryan G's in the building. What's up, everybody? Let's get to this draft talk.
Let's get to the draft off. And also, let me introduce my guy. He actually wrote a write-up for the Nick of Time show a couple of months ago, and he's done a little bit of some draft research, and he's back right now. He actually wrote a breakdown for Deadspin on a mock draft, and he's here to talk draft with us. It's my guy Lee. What's going on, Lee?
What's going on, y'all? Happy to be here, covering the Knicks for Posting and Toasting, Deadspin, The Guardian. Glad to be with my main man, Jay Ellis, talk some Knicks in the draft.
That's right. That's right. Let's get it started. First and foremost, no surprises here. First pick of the draft for the Orlando Magic. It's pretty clear who they're going to pick. But listen, the big news right now has been Jaden Ivey at 4 and the Sacramento Kings. If you haven't been following Knicks Nation so far and Knicks Twitter and all the news, the Knicks have been rumored to be looking into trading for Jaden Ivey, and they were asking for a lot. There's people in our way. We have the Oklahoma City Thunder, who before we talked about that they might be our biggest competition. It's been reported just yesterday that the Oklahoma City Thunder are aggressively trying to trade up from their 12th pick to the 4th pick. We're also in competition with these Hawks, possibly Detroit as well. And the Pacers have dropped out of the Jaden Ivey sweepstakes. Let me get to Lee. Since we haven't talked to Lee, what do you think our chances are actually even trading up for the 4th pick?
A lot of the intel is that the Knicks are definitely in conversation. As we know, with Leon Rose, he's been patient in terms of the packages. He usually draws a line in the sand that he's not willing to cross. And he's been really aggressive on including picks or getting picks back in every transaction he's made. So if we do have an opportunity to get Ivy, I expect it to be probably a 3-pick minimum maximum, with including our pick at 11, the Mavs 2023 next year, and our probably top 5 or along with a few young studs.
Yeah, I agree, and it seems like there might be some trepidation on which young stud they want to include. It's all rumors, though. I've heard some rumor that said they really want IQ, and the Knicks were like, nah. I've heard rumors that said that they really want Cam. I'm pretty sure they would include Cam, just because Cam was included in trade rumors right before the trade deadline last year. So I feel like if it was Cam, they would just be like, fine. But I do feel like the Knicks would have a hard time trying to part with IQ or Obi Toppin. What do you think, Ryan? Do you feel? I know we talked about this. Let me ask Lee once again, because we talked about this before. Me and Ryan, we are both had a stance where we feel like, you know what, we might have to hesitate on Obi because of the Randall situation. Grimes we probably include if we must. IQ, I kind of paused a lot because I'm an IQ lover. I'm an IQ lover. I paused, and I would try to wrestle with maybe even including an extra pick or an extra young person instead of IQ. But ultimately, if it was a make or break deal, I probably would. What do you stand on including IQ in a pick for Ivy?
I'm willing to do it. I think the only guys I wouldn't be willing to include is RJ Novi. I'm thinking about who needs a point guard to have their game unlocked, and I think IQ with the ball in his hands isn't as in need of a point guard as some of the guys on the perimeter like Obi Toppin and RJ Barrett. If it took Emmanuel quickly to move up and get Jay Ivey, and also we can reduce some of the draft capital, I'm okay with making that swap.
Absolutely. Ultimately, that's kind of where I landed on, but I'm still going to fight tooth and nail to keep him. That's just me, only because I feel like the playmakers for us have been hard to come by, and I feel like IQ was taking a huge step in playmaking towards the end of the season. And Jaden Ivey, he's projected to be kind of like a combo guard, point guard, but his playmaking hasn't been at the top of his his pedigree, which is why I would fight to keep IQ. And try to put Grimes into the trade, because I feel like Grimes is more of a 3-and-D guy. I feel like it's easier to plug in a 3-and-D guy through finding a 3-and-D guy in a draft or through free agency than it is finding a guy who can shoot threes and create for other people in themselves. So that's my personal opinion, but I'm pretty sure the Knicks are kind of wrestling with the same type of decision making now. Gunshots. OKC Thunder have taken Chet at number 2. I know it's kind of late, and the pick's happened already, but I wanted to give Lee a chance to answer the question. But yeah, Chet at 2. No surprises so far.
JL, to go back to that, I think the Knicks, oddly enough, have cultivated a lot of playmaking at every position but point. So if you were to bring in Jay Ivey, who's not the strongest facilitator and playmaker, you do have pretty solid playmaking from RJ Barrett,
right,
Evan Fournier, Obi Toppin, and Julius Randle. God forbid if we keep him.
Yeah, I mean, and ultimately, you're right about that. Ultimately, that's why I would do it, because even though he's not the best playmaker, I think the speed in which he plays with can still put pressure on defense and create open shots for everybody else. So he might not have to be the best playmaker at first anyway. But ultimately, I would do it, but I would try to fight against it still, because me personally, I just know that to me, 3D guys are easier to find than dynamic playmakers, in my opinion, anyway. but that's just me. All right, we are 2 picks away from the 4th pick, and then as you know, the Knicks are picking 11th. So let's talk about it, gentlemen. Let's talk about it. Ryan, I know I kind of asked you earlier. If you had to pick 3 people to pick at 11, who you feel might be around 11, and the draft's kind of hard to predict, right? Because
it is kind of hard to predict. I think at 11, I would consider Johnny Davis, if he's still available at 11. I would consider Johnny Davis. I would also consider AJ Griffin, because I like his perimeter shooting, and I do think, especially from what I've heard from the draft experts that we've had, his defense might be on and off at times, but there's potential for his defense to get better. So I would definitely take a look at AJ Griffin, and I think the 3rd guy, I have kind of like Jalen Williams. I've grown to like him a lot. But I know that the Knicks could possibly, trade down to get him. They don't really have to pick him at 11. So that would probably be my 3rd guy. I think those are the top 3 players I'm looking at right now for the Knicks at 11. Possibly trade down to get Jalen Williams.
Okay. You on a Jalen Williams train? You already know I'm on a Jalen Williams train as well. Any particular order that you would like those guys?
Particular order? You mean rank?
Yeah, rank them. Let's go.
Well, I think right now I probably would put Jalen Williams at 1, just for the simple fact I like his playmaking from the wing, and the fact that the Knicks could definitely use some more playmaking. He could definitely play some point guard as well. So I think he'd be number 1 on my list. Number 2 would probably be Johnny Davis, and then 3, AJ Griffin, if I have to rank them.
Got you. What makes you feel like you would put we said AJ Griffin number 2?
Number 3.
So AJ Griffin number 3, your top pick is AJ Griffin.
No, I'm saying you said to rank them like who would I want the Knicks to pick out of, the best out of the three that I, gave you. At least that's what I thought. That's what I thought you meant.
Right. So your first
Right.
pick is AJ Griffin.
No, my first pick is Jalen Williams.
Oh, your first pick is Jalen Williams out of everybody.
Then my second one would be Johnny Davis. Third one would be AJ Griffin. Those are the top three right there that I would be looking forward to if the Knicks don't trade up and get Ivy.
Okay. All right. You picking my picks, right? Stop at see, because you know why we doing too many pods together, so you thinking like me.
So,
Lee, what's going on, man?
So my top three picks, there's really no one at 11 that interests me. I think we've been in this kind of purgatory state for the last couple of years since R.J. Barrett in 2019, where we've been picking, at the bottom end of the top 10 lottery and not getting really a franchise player. Obi could change that. Time to tell if he starts. So there's not really anyone at 11 that really excites me. I mean, I'm all in. I've been all in. Articles on Jaden Ivey. We need to trade up for Jaden Ivey. If that opportunity is to present itself, most of the guys I don't think are going to be available. Bandit Mathurin, Dyson Daniels, I don't go in the top 10, which with Johnny Davis is best option at 11. Some defense, give you some mid-range scoring, give you some three-point scoring. That's probably my best option at 11.
Your best option, you're going Johnny Davis as your first pick.
There has been an update. There has been an update. So, Shams just reported the Kings are going to pick Keegan Murray at number 4.
What?
Stay with Detroit.
The Kings are picking Keegan Murray.
At least Detroit's got that fit.
Yeah, I mean, and Woj just reported it too. Yeah, Kings are going with Keegan Murray at number 4. That means Jaden Ivey's dropped to 5.
Jaden Ivey has dropped to 5. Interesting. Now, this makes things interesting. So this tells me something. All week long, we've been hearing that the Kings and the Knicks have been in talks about a move. Paces have dropped out. To me, that means that the Knicks probably is taking a hard stance. Yeah. Or the OKC, or maybe they just don't like the package, and they say, screw it, we're taking Keegan Murray because they didn't like the package they was getting from OKC or the Knicks, which means the Detroit Pistons will now be on the clock for Jaden Ivey. And from my understanding, listen, man, I know some people feel like Jaden Ivey is a point guard and Cade Cunningham is a point guard and they can't play together, but I really don't believe that that's what Detroit is thinking. You know what I mean? I do feel like Detroit can envision an Ivy Cade backcourt for years to come, especially because from what I was saying before, he's not a guy who's like a playmaker for real. You can have Cade for that. So it's also been reported though that the Knicks have been in talks with the Pistons, so we already know they have a backup plan to talk with the Pistons, and this changes some things because now we already know from Ian Begley that Detroit's top pick from the Knicks is Cam Reddish and not Emmanuel Quickley and Obi Toppin. This might be something that I feel like might be easier for the Knicks to give up since Cam Reddish was already in trade rumors at the deadline for was it Cam? I think who was the trade? Was it Cam Reddish to the Lakers? I believe was the proposed trade that died.
Taylor and Horton Tucker.
Right. Exactly. So if that's the case, listen, man, I don't know. I don't want it. Anything can happen right now. Anything can happen. Go ahead.
This
Lee.
team presents a really different trade package than what Sacramento would be. Sacramento wanted veterans to help them win now, which the Knicks kind of have. Derrick Rose, I think, would be the best impact player for Sacramento, but Julius Randle never made sense with the Domantas Sabonis.
No, they
already
didn't.
in 4-5. It just I never saw them really wanting Julius Randle as much as someone like Christian Wood or Jeremiah Grant. But with Detroit, Cam Reddish, Grimes, maybe Quickly, those guys are, I think, in our draft capital are more in play with Detroit than it is in Sacramento.
Yeah, I actually think it's easier to make a deal with the Detroit Pistons than it is the Sacramento Kings with the way it's constructed. So
Yeah.
I actually feel like the chances of us actually making a deal is a little bit higher. And not to say it's a done deal, because that's not what I'm saying. But I feel like our chances are higher with dealing with Detroit, for sure. And I keep my stance. And I know they wouldn't want Julius Randle because they just got rid of Jerry and Grant. They're trying to clear cap space. Obviously, their trade targets for the summer, or free agent targets rather, are DeAndre Ayton. And DeAndre Ayton is probably their biggest trade target. So they probably wouldn't be going after Julius Randle. But like you said, they might take some vets, a lot of picks, some Cam Reddish and some young pieces. Might be able to get a deal done. Yes, something to say, Lee?
Yeah.
Pistons are taking Ivy with the 5th pick.
Yeah, that's what we'll just reported, yeah.
Pistons are taking Ivy with the 5th pick.
All
right.
Not surprising.
Not surprising. Pistons take Ivy with the 5th pick. We'll still see what happens. We'll still see what happens.
I mean, just because the Pistons are picking him at 5, it doesn't mean that he's going to stay there.
That doesn't mean he's going to stay there, but it doesn't mean he's not. It doesn't mean he's not. The interesting thing, though, is what happens after that, because now everybody starts to get pushed down a little bit.
Yeah.
So who do we have selecting now? We have the 6th pick is up next, which is the Indiana Pacers.
Probably. Shane Sharp, I think, at 6. That made some sense.
Yeah. I would say Shaedon Sharpe definitely makes sense for the Indiana Pacers, given they need some dynamic wing help. I know Warren is coming off their books.
Right. Brogdon might be traded, and I've heard they're interested in Dyson Daniels too. That could be another option for them.
Absolutely, that could be another option. And I'm not sure. I've also heard rumors. We also heard rumors today that the Knicks actually are looking into possibly trading up for him as well, for Shaedon Sharpe, which is interesting to me. How do you feel about that? Me, I kind of feel nervous about that because that doesn't seem like a Walt Perrin thing to me. Because in the report it says Shaedon Sharpe has friends in high places, right? That's been reported by Ian Begley, and I was in quotes. And when you say he has friends in high places, to me, okay, that means William Wesley and Leon Rose. I already know what I say. I say, in Walt Perrin we trust. If Walt Perrin wants to trade up, I trust that we can trust Walt Perrin's, basketball IQ because he's done his due diligence. If it's a Leon Rose, William Wesley type of move, I'm not as confident about that, especially considering that Shaedon Sharpe, there's not a lot of intel on him. But of course, they probably gotten intel from the Kentucky guys, since Shaedon Sharpe hasn't really played all year in Kentucky. What do you think about that, Lee?
To be fair, Emmanuel Quickley was a World Wide West pick. I remember hearing the rumors and intel that when he was in the draft room, he was like, "Dibs needs shooters. Go get a shooter. The boy can shoot." So Emmanuel Quickley was highly liked by World Wide West. So it's also Kentucky connections. You can never count that out with the New York Wildcats. Sharpe is interesting. I wouldn't be willing to part with IQ. Reddish and Grimes and maybe 2 picks to move up for Sharpe. But 3 picks or IQ or Obi, that's a hell no for me. I have zero interest in really forfeiting the future for Sharpe when he's such an enigma and such an unknown.
I agree with you, which is why I feel like the trade up candidate thing for Sharpe in particular is a little bit too risky for me to give up the farm. Anything to add to that, Ryan?
Yeah, Lee pretty much said it right there. I mean, I know I've heard, certain draft experts say that, Shaedon Sharpe might end up being the guy that ends up being the superstar of the group, that's picked this year, and he definitely has a high ceiling, but like you said, there's a lot of unknowns about him. He didn't play at Kentucky. He's basically 1 year removed, from playing, 5-on-5 basketball pretty much. So there's not really a lot of intel on him. So it's kind of like that's like a huge gamble you're taking right there. You're really rolling the dice with Sharp, hoping that the reports about him having possibly the highest ceiling in the draft is actually going to come true for you. If you can handle his development correctly and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be willing to take a huge gamble. Like Lee said, I probably would throw like a little trade out there. I might give up 2 young players, maybe a future first rounder for him, but I'm not gonna OD and like give up the farm, just to move up and get Sharp. That's not really a good risk to take.
I'm not even gonna lie, yo. I'm not even sure if I'm sold on moving up at all on Sharp. I'm not even gonna lie. Like Sharp is one of those guys where if you do see something, I feel like it's gonna take a few years because he hasn't been in an actual NBA program or anything. So I don't know. It's too risky for my blood in particular. But like you said, William Wesley, he was right on the IQ thing. So maybe
we do need more high upside, high ceiling guys.
I agree.
I think what we're seeing from Quickly, I think he has a little bit more of a ceiling, but not much more. I think we've seen maximum Mitch on offense for sure. He might be able to get a little bit better on defense, but the game is so raw offensively. Obi's at a high ceiling. I think RJ has a high floor. I think he can average 3 to 4 more points per game, but I don't see him as a 28, 29 point per game scorer. So we need someone who could be a big home run swing. I only see Ivy as that after the pick number 4. I think Ivy and Sharp are the 2 guys who fit the bill.
Right. And then you know what it is too? We also have Cam. I guess the thing about Cam is we don't have a lot of time to evaluate Cam, you know what I mean? Because Cam is that little teaser, man. He shows you just enough to believe that things are real. But he also has these injury problems where once he starts to get on a roll, he gets injured. So you don't know if that's going to be sustainable. But when I look at Cam and how easily he's gotten to the rim and how he can go between that stretch 4 roll and that 3 roll, I feel like and I feel like he can be good for us. But I'm not sure if we have enough time to really evaluate him. But the only reason maybe was kind of giving me hope, though, and interestingly enough, is the rumors that's been going around with the Knicks right now, talking about offloading Alec Burks and Nerlens Noel and other salary to clear cap to go after Jalen Brunson, even though I feel like that's a long shot. But in my mind, we clear the cap, right? This is what I'm thinking. In my mind, we clear the cap. We might swing and miss on Jalen Brunson, but oh my gosh, look at all this clear pathway for the youth to play now. You know what I mean? So it's like, if we get rid of Alec Burks and we end up, I don't know, getting somebody safe like Tyus from the Grizzlies or something, then I can see Cam Reddish getting some burn. I can see IQ getting an actual shot. I can see Grimes playing some more minutes. Or even whoever we select at 11, who I didn't really see getting playing time before, I can see them actually getting a chance to play. So that's the only thing that makes me think, well, maybe if we did keep Cam, if that stuff did happen, maybe we have a shot. I don't know.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when Donnie Walsh took over the Knicks back in the late 2000s, and he traded away Zach Randolph and traded away who was the other guy he got rid of? Jamal Crawford.
Right.
To clear cap space for the LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh free agency.
Right.
And he signed, I think Chris Duhon, he signed as a point guard, and it was like Duhon and Gallo and Landry Fields, Timothy Mostrar. There's all these young guys, Wilson Chandler, and the young guys actually got a lot of burn.
Yes.
Playing starting minutes next to a point guard that was first. I think that Tyus Jones comp. Chris Duhon, there's a lot of similarities there. A guy who's a great scorer, but can pack a punch off the bench, but is more like a high IQ facilitator, floor leader. And that would put a position where our young guys are playing as a free agent market and trade destination. Because, hey, the young guys are actually playing, not buried on a bench behind Alec Burks and Nerlens Noel,
Right.
Get rid of those bumps, please.
Please. And that's a really good comparison, man. I'm glad that you even mentioned that, because even after that year, the young guys got a lot of burn, and then all of a sudden, people wanted the young guys. Now I feel like we still moved too many pieces in the Carmelo trade with Wilson Chandler and Gallinari and all those guys. Like, but you're right, and I think that's exactly what we need at this point to raise the value of the young guys that are here in a New York uniform right now. That would be the ultimate. Everything that Knicks fans want. And it's funny because we ended the season with like almost like a letter from Leon Rose talking up these young guys. Hopefully they see the vision and it's not just lip service that, you know, Leon Rose kind of believes in these young guys, and we actually follow through and prove that we believe in them by letting them run this season. That's what I want to see.
I think Donnie Walsh wanted to get rid of that many. You're right. I think the package was too much, especially that pick that turned out to be Jamal Murray.
Right.
For Denver. I don't think that Leon Rose wants to trade these young guys such as Donnie Walsh didn't. The difference is Dolan was a lot more active and did a lot more of a bigger part back then in terms of forcing Walsh's hand and forcing the front office to go after Carmelo. I think that Leon Rose seems to have some autonomy and the ability to make decisions and keep his roster intact.
Absolutely. Yeah. We don't have Dolan over here sticking his nose in businesses we don't belong. He's leaving up to the basketball experts and the Wild West and these guys to make the moves, and that's the biggest difference right now. And that's just kind of giving us hope right now. But update, we have the Pacers who have taken Benedict Mathurin.
I knew he'd be gone.
Yeah, I knew it. I had a feeling Pacers were going to pick him too.
Woo! Crazy. So Benedict is gone at the 6th pick. Shaden Sharp is falling.
Yeah, that's a badass backcourt though in Indiana. Halliburton and Mathurin, that's cold.
That's cold. They went with the short thing. They went with the short thing in Mathurin. We already told about Mathurin. Mathurin is a deadly, pretty good shooter. Athletic guy, can finish at the rim. Gives you a little bit of defense as well. Solid pick from the Pacers, man.
This is the most athletic Indiana's been since the Danny Granger years and Paul George.
Absolutely.
Yeah, pretty much.
And shout out to Raw. I know Raw's somewhere right now. Trying to convince Leon to work the phone to get Mathurin, because I know Raw, that was Raw's pick. He wanted Mathurin.
Oh man, them tears falling out his eyes right now.
Yeah, nah, cause we had a conversation. He wasn't here for this either. We had a hypothetical because everybody talked about trading up for Ivy, but I asked, would you trade up for anybody else outside of Ivy? Raw was like Mathurin. He was really like a Mathurin guy for good reason. But yeah, so I'm not sure if I'd trade up for Mathurin. I feel like Ivy. I feel like it's Ivy a bust for me to trade up. I don't think I'll trade up for any of these guys.
You think you wouldn't say Sharp falls to 8? You wouldn't trade up to take Sharp? I would.
That's just 3 picks. That's not a big jump.
I mean, I guess the price from 11 to 8, it shouldn't be that crazy. It would probably be maybe 2 first. I would think 2 first and maybe a vet maybe. And who do we have at 8? We have the Pelicans. What do the Pelicans need?
Veterans, they're trying to win now.
Yeah.
They're all in.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty much set because, I mean, they got Zion, they got CJ McCollum. They have a pretty solid team right now.
Right. I can see them wanting like a cheap vet I can see them wanting maybe like an Alec Burks. Like a switch.
And also reports just came out that the Knicks are still in pursuit of acquiring Jaden Ivey, even after Detroit selected the Purdue combo guard.
Let's go.
There we go. We still in the hunt, baby. We still in the hunt. It's not over. It's not over.
Illusional till the end.
It is not over. The Knicks are still in the hunt for Jaden Ivey. Come on, baby. Let's go. Let's do it. Oh, man.
Oh, Portland will select Shaden Sharp. It just came in from Shams.
Portland will select. Okay. Now, Portland is interesting. Portland is interesting as well because Portland is also in win now mode. The Knicks have been rumored to also want Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp, we try to get Shannon Sharp. My man's retired. He played NFL.
I mean, Shaden, my bad. But so I can see the Knicks even going and calling the Portland Trailblazers as also a backup. I can also see that. And it's crazy because Portland is interesting because I felt like they kind of gave CJ away personally. I feel like they could have gotten more for CJ. But I also feel like they did pretty good in getting Jerry and Grant without even they gave up a Bucks pick. So I feel like there's a chance we can, if we were to trade up for Sharp, that it wouldn't be that crazy for Portland because they can go either or. They can definitely go either.
About what Portland's been before, like the last 5 or 6 years with Dame. They've been very half-court driven. They've had a lot of players that thrive in the intermediate game, jump shooters, flat-footed Nurkic, guys that are passing out of the high post, playing the pick and roll. They haven't been very athletic. With the occasional Robin Covington, those guys haven't really fit in. Now with Simons and Jeremiah Grant, they're a pretty athletic team. If I look at the Knicks roster and try to figure out who fits, to me it's Randall and Reddish. I think you could make a Randall-Grant combination work. Maybe stagger their minutes, play Grant more at the 3, place a small at the 5. You could package Reddish and Randall and get Sharp and maybe even take back like a Nurkic or some other aspiring salary that they have. Give them some picks.
I wasn't sure if they will want Randall now that they have Grant. I wasn't sure at all, but I mean, if they want to do that, I'm with it. I know they were also interested in Anunoby from the Raptors, so they obviously have like a type they're looking for. They're looking for like the long limb type of guys. Cam Reddish definitely fits that bill, so I can definitely see them wanting that type of stretch for long limb personnel in there. So I definitely agree with you on the Cam front. The Randall front, I'm iffy about it. It can make sense. It really depends on how do they really see Grant. You know what I mean? Because I've had this conversation with the guys on Knicks Twitter. As much as we down Randall is better than Grant, man.
Yeah.
Randall is better than Grant.
Even as worse, he's still 20 and 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
20, 10, and 5 and is going to command a double team.
Yep.
So like I don't know if they'll go after him, and I don't know if they want to split the minutes between those two guys. But maybe they could split the 4 minutes, but I also, Grant, you can kind of play those guys together low key because Grant can easily slide to the 3 and go back to that old school OKC role of 3-and-D guy.
But Portland's been really traditional in the last couple of years. They have positionally their stretcher where CJ McCollum was a 2, Nurkic was the 5, Lillard was a conventional 1. Now I think they're getting some athletes that are more switchable.
You're right.
Guys play multiple positions, more positionless basketball, which is becoming really trendy nowadays. If Randall can commit to playing small ball 5, that's a deadly offensive team that Portland's putting out there. Because when his 3 ball is on, I think he's an average 37, 38% 3-point shooter. That's pretty deadly if you have Randall at the 5. Now, does Randall want to play the 5? Maybe for a change of scenery, less pressure, and playing with Dame, he might buy into it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So some other news came out. So Knicks are still talking with Detroit about the Ivy selection. A deal could be made if Durham is available at 11. They do a package with that pick. So it seems like Detroit wants Durham as well. So
wow.
If he's still available at 11, the Knicks can make a package with Durham and get Ivy from Detroit.
Wow. Okay. Now we got who would block us? I think the Spurs might want Durham.
Where'd you hear that from?
Steve Papa just tweeted it, and I know that he's, pretty much one of the guys that covers the Knicks. And
he's legit.
Yeah. Now Mark Stein just reported too that the Knicks' hopes could hinge on whether Jalen Durham is available at 11 or not.
Wow, this is getting interesting right now.
Maybe Detroit is starting to hear that Ayton either doesn't want to come to Detroit or might stay in Phoenix. I know they've been really heavy targeting Ayton as their starting center moving
Right.
forward. They're hearing that that's fallen by the wayside. They might see Jalen Durham as a possible replacement at the 5, which makes the Knicks in play to make that swap. Let's go.
Let's go! Come on! The Spurs. I feel like the Spurs might be the guys who might get in our way, if anything. 'Cause I feel like the Spurs might want a center.
Yeah, there have been rumors saying that the Spurs are looking at him too.
Spurs got Podol at the 5. He's pretty solid.
They have Podol at the 5. I'm Podol versus Duran's upside. I'm just trying to be realistic and think of every possible thing not getting away right now. Podol versus Duran's upside is you know.
Oddly enough, my worst case scenario is that we take Durham and we keep him. And that's our pick at number 11. And we have another center besides Mitch and Sims and currently Noel. Nightmare pick.
Oh,
yeah,
Noel is
definitely
gone.
a nightmare pick.
Noel is expiring. He's been gone.
Man.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying if Jalen Durham gets to 11, the deal is done.
Whoa.
Guys.
Whoa.
This could get nuts, man. This could get nuts. Okay, all right.
Damn.
This is nerve-wracking right now. We have the 8th pick.
And New Orleans is picking Dyson Daniels, so that's another team off the board right there. So now we have to worry about 9 and 10.
Right, and we kind of figured Dyson Daniels is moving up the draft boards because of the switchability. Those guys, they were looking. New Orleans were kind of looking at long wings in general. So it's no surprise that they're taking Dyson Daniels at 8. I don't know. I'm nervous right now, guys. I'm nervous right now. I'm nervous right now. I don't know. I have not even looked at the phones or anything. Phone lines are open if you have anything to comment about with this draft so far. Number is 319-527-6241. The number is right there at the bottom of the screen, 319-527-6241. If you have any comments about the draft so far or anything that we said so far pertaining to these Knicks and our chances of getting Jaden Ivey, man. Our chances of getting Jaden.
New Orleans.
What happened?
Did Dyson Daniels go to New Orleans?
Yeah, Dyson Daniels went to New Orleans.
That's a good pick. They need a point guard. I think that's a nice selection for them. But already having Alvarado and who else they picked up in free agency? A guy from Charlotte.
The guy. Graham. They got Graham.
Yeah, Devontae Graham.
Yeah.
And McCollum can play make too.
Right, and I know they got Kira Lewis who has an ACL injury, so I feel like I don't know. I feel like he might be moved at some point. I would think.
I think wasn't Kira Lewis moved in the CJ McCollum trade? I think he went to Portland.
Oh, is he in Portland? Did I miss that?
Did he? Or am I mistaken on that?
I don't think he was moved. I would have to look that up. I don't think he was moved.
Oh, you're right. He's still there.
Yeah.
My bad.
All good.
Yep. So now here's the pick we really have to worry about. Spurs at 9.
The Spurs at 9. All right, here we go, guys. The Spurs at 9. If we get past, if the Spurs don't pick a center,
I'm pretty confident he'll be there at 11 because I don't think the Wizards are going to go after a center.
Right. If the Spurs do not pick a center, you already know the gunshots are going off. You might hear a couple of oohs. We celebrating because Jaden Ivey was most likely going to be a New York Knick.
All right, come on, Spurs.
Oh, and
don't F this up.
Somehow, okay, Supreme Stream says FYI, shout out to Supreme Stream. He says, FYI, Ivy did not get a phone call from Detroit before his name was called.
Whoa.
Oh, interesting.
Whoa, that's big.
Which means to me that they might just go after whoever has a center, period.
Okay, and now I don't know if this is so Mark Stein retweeted I guess a source that said that the Pistons are keeping Jaden Ivey despite several attempts from rival teams to acquire him.
No! Oh. Dashed. Mark Stein?
Yeah, Mark Stein retweeted that from another source or insider.
Is this a real Mark Stein or a fake Mark Stein? Is this a real account?
And then Fred Katz also tweeted saying that report seems irrelevant. So,
dashed.
Well,
dang, man, my feelings are hurt.
I guess it was nice while it lasted.
Feelings are hurt. First caller up, man. All right, we got a caller is up right now. First caller up, man. What's your name? Where are you from? And what do you want to talk about, sir?
Hello, are you there, caller?
Hello?
I guess the caller's not there.
Oh, he just dropped. Okay. That's cool. Man, I'm sorry, man. My emotions are still kind of raw right now. I'm still trying to process. I'm processing the disappointment of...
This is definitely not as exciting. But if Detroit does keep Ivy, it pretty much only minimizes the takers for Jalen Brunson to be New York or re-sign with Dallas. I'm not super happy with Brunson. I don't think that we should go all in on him. Really, Ivy or DeJounte Murray were the only two guards I was interested in Nets taking.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, I'm with you. I'm not all in on Brunson. Here's my take on it, and I've talked about this before. If we do get Brunson on the Knicks, I wouldn't be upset because he's a solid player. You know what I mean? He's always been an efficient player. He's pretty ISO heavy. I don't think I feel like his passing could improve, but he's still a solid player. My qualm with him has always been, can he produce the way he does here that he has in Dallas? Because we don't have that stretch five.
No, I don't think so.
Right. We don't have that stretch five that's going to give him that room to isolate like he was isolating in Dallas. So I'm not sure if we're going to get that same return in efficiency here in New York. But at the end of the day, he is a solid guard, so I wouldn't be upset. But I really want to, with all these guys being off the board, it makes me want to lean more into IQ. I'm not really that interested in Malcolm Brogdon. Definitely not giving up in the 11th pick for him.
Not.
I wouldn't give up anybody for him outside of Julius Randle, to be honest. I wouldn't bet. Huh?
So I'm Dallas-based. I watch a lot of Mavs. I go to a lot of Mavs games. And Jalen Brunson cannot carry a team as a primary lead facilitator. He can't do it. He can do it in stretches when Luka's out. He can do it for 5 games, 8 games. He can average 18, 20 points in those small sample sizes. But through an 82-game season as a lead facilitator, that's not who he is.
Right.
He's better on ball with a superstar off ball playing next to him, picking up the slack and cleaning up his mistakes. He's still the Luka Doncic, man. Like, that's a lot of why he looks so good. Is when he isolation mode, Luka's being demanding double teams out the corners when he's out there in motion. So I think if he came here, it'd be another situation where the Knicks are getting a backup to try to be a starter.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree with
Been
you.
doing it for decades.
And you know what? And here's my thing too. He's still solid, right? Like, you have to give him credit because he shut out in the playoffs with no Luka Doncic. Took on the Utah Jazz and squeaked some games out. But then again, I do feel like having that 5-out offense had a lot to do with his success. He doesn't have that here. But I don't think he'll be a total disaster though. I don't think he'll be a total disaster. I think he'll just be solid. My hope is if we do get him and we pay him, it doesn't end up being a negative asset because we paid so much for him, and it doesn't look as good in New York as it did in Dallas. That's my biggest worry, if anything. If he comes here and he plays well, then cool. We have another asset that we can move with or move on from and give us some more options moving forward. But at the end of the day, I've always said this, like, if you look at IQ and you look at him, IQ today averages more assists than he has on his IQ second year versus his second year. IQ averages more assists. I feel like he's as much crap as IQ gets for not being facilitator. He has one of the highest pass percentages in the league, highest assist turnover percentages in the league. One of our best go-ahead passers. Him and OB are kind of like the Wonder Tims. He always ends up finding him whenever he's leaking out. I feel like the playmaking ceiling for IQ is higher than Brunson. straight up.
Agreed.
But with Brunson, the thing that Brunson has that big body, a la Kyle Lowry, where, or a la Fred VanVleet, where if things get rough, he's not going to get bumped off his spot if he goes to the hole, especially if we have the right personnel around him. But we have to have the right personnel around him, and we don't have that as of today. Now,
Okay.
You had a report?
Yeah, just that the Spurs are gonna pick Jeremy Sochan from Baylor, and the source from Detroit is saying that it would take a crazy offer for something to happen. Expect Ivy to be a Piston. So he's just reiterating what he said earlier.
Damn.
man, what changed in?
And then Washington will select Johnny Davis at number 10. So that's one guy off the board.
Yeah, I already
there.
saw. Everybody knew that was coming. Everybody knew it was coming.
It's gonna be AJ Griffin.
Yeah, probably AJ Griffin. Yeah.
It's gonna be AJ Griffin. It's gonna be AJ Griffin. It's gonna be AJ
Man.
Griffin. Still a solid pick. It's crazy that AJ. He dropped. But I guess a lot of teams are kind of. It kind of shows you where the NBA is right now, man. A lot of the teams have opted for the longer guys with upside.
Yeah.
Taking a chance on Sohan, who wasn't a proven scorer. Taking a chance on Dyson Daniels, who wasn't a proven scorer. A lot of teams right now are just kind of prioritizing length and athleticism over shooting right now, which is why, Griffin started off with like a 7 pick in a lot of mocks and kind of slid in 2 weeks.
How do you guys feel about trading back? Because at this point, the 3 guys I named at the start of our show are gone. I really don't have any interest in anyone at this 11th spot, whether it be Duran or AJ Griffin. Once the Ivy fantasy went out the window, I'm like, man, trade this pick for a future top 5 protected lottery from one of these terrible teams, and let's get a future asset to package in a trade or just use ourselves next year or the year after.
I'm super open to it, man. We already know 2023, that draft is stacked. So if we trade out completely and just get another at bat for next season, I'm with that for sure.
That'd be 3 picks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have 3
I'm pretty
picks
much on board with that too.
Also, there's also some guys who project to be lower, who are also kind of the guys that kind of taken in front of us, are too. They have that same type of prototype body. The longer wings. We have Jalen Williams, who we talked about before, who I'm very high on. To me, I feel like he kind of has that same. He had the same responsibilities to me as Johnny Davis, where he had to carry an offense, but he was more efficient than Johnny Davis to be. He's more athletic than he is. Doesn't quite have the defense, but I feel like if he has to take down his production, if his usage rate is down, I feel like his defense can climb. Also, that late growth spurt that he showed, because he grew from, I think, what was it, like 6 feet to like 6'5", 6'6" in a year. I feel like he hasn't really figured out how to use his length athleticism yet, and if he can do that for the Knicks, and playmate next to RJ, I feel like that can be a really good pick and a really good pairing, man. Him and RJ playing together, I can see that being pretty good for us. So I definitely be down for trading down and getting him. I know raw guys, Tari Eason might be somebody also to look at as a trade down candidate. Not an offensive guy per se, but today, if we're facing one of these wings who are troublesome, we can throw him on them, and they might have some problems because he's one of those guys who he's a high block, high steal guy, not much offensive polish, but he's been able to get to the rim and score with just raw ability off the bench, even without the offensive power. So maybe that might be somebody else to look at. Those are some of the trade candidates I think I might be open to. I don't know if you guys are looking at anybody else.
Yeah, I mean, there's a number of guys. Jalen Williams is definitely my number 1 trade down candidate. is probably picking him at 11 is probably a little bit too high. Agbaji from Kansas is another candidate as well.
Right.
Good two-way player. Of course, I think East is another guy, like you said, good defensive player. Definitely can bring it on defense. So I mean, there are guys that the Knicks can trade down and get that would help out the team. So at this point, it's like, Ivy's off the board. Davis is off the board. There's nobody really on the board right now that's going to be a huge game changer where it's like, they're going to really shift the pendulum way forward. So at this point, it's like, if you can accumulate more assets, why not?
Yeah.
I'm thinking about what happened last year when Leon Rose had that 19th pick and he traded to Charlotte for the pick that was going to be this year, that then he swapped for Cam Reddish. I think that's where probably the route that he goes is consolidating that pick for a future asset, which I'm more on board with than taking a mid-tier player between 11 and 18 or 11 and 20. I mean, it's just going to be another Grimes. It's going to be another rotational piece, which is good when you're building culture and building depth. But we really need a home run swing. We have the nice rotation pieces. We have the 2 through 5 guys that I think have either average NBA players or to above average NBA, with Obi and RJ being even a higher level than that. But we need a home run swing. And to me, I think another pick in 2023 is more valuable than a pick between 11 and 20. Although Ian Bedley just tweeted more on that, saying earlier about if Durham's there at 11, Detroit might be negotiating. I don't know how real that is. I don't know if he's behind on what everyone else
Did
is.
he just tweet that? My heart can't take anymore, Lee. Don't play with me, Lee.
Well, I'll say this. I'll say this. They did show a video of Jaden Ivey dapping up Spike Lee, though. So I don't know if that's...
No, don't play. Don't play with my emotions. Don't play with both of you.
I don't know if it means anything. I don't know.
Don't play with me. Hold up, we gotta call her up. We got Ken. Shout out to Ken, the editor, the editor of the KOT.
Let's go.
The editor of I was about to say the KOT show, the KOT blog, thetimeshow.com. Ken, what's going on, my man?
Man, thanks for having me for the next pick. Hey, I agree with a lot what you're saying about Brunson. I think he's actually going to come because of the connections, and I think they can make the money work. But I really don't like him. I'm not crazy about him, especially with the fit with IQ. But anyway, regarding the 11th pick, I hear what everybody's saying. This is where we got Walt Parent for, right here, right? We gotta find somebody here that has that upside potential. Could be like a Donovan Mitchell type guy. I love what you said about Jalen Williams. I think he's the kid. When I was looking through the Ringer, they had the list for the mock draft. I saw this kid's face and I was like, there's something about him. And then when you guys did the videos, the interviews, and you did the breakdown about him, I was like, that kid is special. He could be the guy that could be an X factor for the Knicks. So anyway, let's see what happens. We really need to make the right decision here. And God, please find a way to get rid of Randall. So that's all I got for you guys.
Oh man, is Leon Rose God? We'll find out soon. All right.
I already put the tweet out there, man. I'm not expecting anything. I'm expecting rather to be starting lineup opening day for the Knicks next season.
Yo, here's I'm torn, man. Like, here's the thing about Jalen Williams too. Like, I definitely would like Jalen Williams here. If we don't get a pick, right, and we end up moving on from Alec Burks, this could be a big opportunity for Cam here, if nothing has happened. If we end up moving Alec Burks, this could be a big opportunity for Cam. So, that could be another motivation not to even pick somebody. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll definitely see how it goes. But I'm still down for getting Jalen Williams. To me, he seems like a guy who is humble, and he's like, I'm going to play anywhere. I'll play in the G League. So I feel like he's one of those guys where he'll take his lumps, and he will be okay with not playing that first year, which most likely might happen under Tibbs, as you know. Ask Jimmy Butler.
It's in. The Knicks will select Ousmane Dieng at number 11.
Whoa! What?
Yep. Shams is reporting right now. And then ESPN had a rub. they had to rub the wound even deeper. They said the Knicks only have one playoff win within the last 22 seasons. One playoff victory. I mean, like one series win in the last 22 seasons.
Shocked. Shocked. I am shocked. Ousmane Dieng?
Yep.
That's a strange one because that's another one of those like tweener things, small fours, small ball, like a little bit of small ball five that we just kind of have like a lot of depth consolidation there. That's where we have the most like log jam. It's in the front court. So to take someone that's not going to get immediate minutes or help us out with 15, 20 a game right off the bat, I just don't understand the mindset of that. Unless Leon really has a Julius Randle trade in the bag, I also just don't see that as a possibility. I agree with y'all. I think we're going to start the season with Randle, unfortunately, at the 4 and not the 5, playing at the Obi, but at the 4 and at the Mitch. Again.
I would say I think it's one of those. What I think is happening is there's so many young guys right now, and there's such a log jam that I feel like they're trying to. I feel like they feel like that's a swing. I feel like this might be like a kind of like a risk pick. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they said that with Ousmane Dieng. They said that he's been rising up the draft boards as of late due to his workouts. So I'm assuming that his workouts are really impressive, and that's probably what compelled the Knicks to pick him at 11.
Yeah, I mean, I think I read that he blew away the Pelicans, I believe.
Wait, hold up. Knicks moving Ousmane Dieng to OKC, so they are making a move.
What happened?
They're picking Ousmane Dieng for the Oklahoma City Thunder, so they are making a move.
So they're trading down to the 12th.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Okay.
The details aren't there yet. They're just saying that they're picking Ousmane Dieng for the Thunder, but there's no details yet as to what is actually involved in the trade.
Are they trading out of this year's pick? They might be. Are they trading out of this year's and taking the pick from next season?
I don't know. There's no details. They're just saying that the Knicks are picking Ousmane Dieng.
I'm just guessing. They might be trading.
That I want to trade out of, it's OKC. Because not only is an OKC pick money, but they own picks from Miami. They own picks from like 3 other teams in the NBA.
That's what I'm saying.
The Thunder will send multiple first-round picks to New York.
Multiple?
Oh, baby!
Yeah,
multiple
to New York. Yeah, that's what Wolves just reported.
What?
Multiple first-round picks to New York.
Wow. Okay. Now we making some movement now.
I mean, thought they got 26 picks stacked up.
Multiple. Okay, Brock Aller.
They can afford to give up.
Brock Aller, the cap just out here working. Y'all doubted him, so then let's go. Multiple first round picks. Let's go. Silver Gray, put down the bottle, Silver Gray. You don't gotta drink no more. We got multiple first round picks, sir. This guy, he said, bring the gunshots out. With the gunshot.
I want to trade out. I want to trade out that spot and get more picks, and we did it, baby, with OKC.
All right.
That was the right team to do it with, too. The right team.
Yep. Best team to do it with.
Man.
Okay.
What are we getting multiple first round picks for is the question.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's still the details are still iffy. We don't know what first round picks they are yet, but we know it's multiple first round picks.
Can we use these multiple first round picks to make a move?
Possibly.
It's Pete Knick fan that Dean was getting booed even when
I was like, dude.
Oh boy, well, he ain't got to worry about being booed for too long because he ain't gonna be here. So.
He ain't gonna be here. It's more like boop, and then he's gone. You don't even hear the rest of it. He don't even hear the O's. Brock Aller, Walt Perrin, Worldwide West.
Shout out to Worldwide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
Making moves for Knicks Nation. Getting multiple first-round picks without tanking. Okay.
Yes, sir. And then OKC is picking again at number 12. So they definitely didn't send number 12 to the Knicks.
Right.
Yeah, so to me, I would say these are future first-round picks.
So they might have traded out.
Yeah.
That's what I want. Trade out.
Okay. All right. All right. This is interesting. So AJ Griffin, the guy who supposedly grew up with Tom Thibodeau, was not picked. Nepotism didn't even work. Knicks still didn't want to draft him.
Knicks probably like they try to pick for this. They're not even sure they're gonna be here past this season.
What happened is this another is this another Denver Nuggets situation? Is this another Michael Porter Jr. situation where AJ Griffin was one for lottery? They got the medicals back. Nobody liked it and was like, no, now he's gonna fall to like a mid-teen because of a bad medicals. I feel like that might be happening once again.
I'll say this. This is the first time in my fandom that we made a move like this. This is so un-Knicks to have the 11th pick and trade it for future assets. We've never had an office with that kind of foresight and that type of patience to make a move like that. They've always gone like a fucking center or a Ty Washington. That's exactly what Phil Jackson or Glenn Grunwald would have done. I'm so happy that Leon Rose is so draft driven.
We making moves, man. This is smart. We playing chestnut checkers this time, man.
Yep, and they say that the Thunder's gonna pick Jalen Williams with the 12th pick, and they say it's not part of the Knicks trade with them.
Oh, so the 12th pick.
So Jalen Williams is going to the Thunder.
Okay. I was telling somebody, it was like trade back from him. Like, I'm not sure how far Jalen Williams is actually gonna be available because he's been climbing up draft boards as well, especially with the way he's been performing in the combine. But I can live with this.
Yeah, most definitely.
I can live with this. Especially if we're trading into next season, Steve draft, because the thing is, if we have multiple first rounds for 2023, which I'm hoping we do,
woo,
then we can trade up in one of the deepest drafts in years.
Yup.
You're on it.
And get a big pick. So even though Knicks fans might be sad today that we didn't get AJ Griffin, that we didn't get a Jaden Ivey,
I'm not sad about AJ Griffin. I'm okay with this turnout. I really am.
Right. Or we didn't get a Mathurin. Or none of those guys.
Yeah. I mean, like I've said in past, podcasts, like, we have a lot of solid on the Knicks. It's about time we go after dynamic. We need someone who's going to really shift, the pendulum, towards winning for the Knicks. And at 11, there's just not those kind of guys there available for the Knicks. If we draft at 11, it's basically going to be the same team next season. The guy's not going to add a whole lot to the team. So it's like you might as well either swing for the fences or, just trade out the draft altogether, keep gathering assets.
This also shows that Leon Rose didn't put all of his eggs in the Sacramento basket.
Right.
He was talking to Sacramento. He's talking to Detroit, and no one knew he was talking to OKC.
Right.
Think about to offer OKC the 11th and 12th pick consecutively.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good offer to pinpoint and talk to and to move us up in future draft capital. That's fantastic.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it seems like the Knicks, once again, they had a line they weren't willing to cross. And they stuck to their guns. We already seen this before. We already seen this when the Knicks were trying to get what's the small forward's name who ended up with the Hornets?
Gordon Hayward.
Gordon Hayward. Yeah. The Knicks had a certain price in a certain year for Gordon Hayward, and they were disciplined enough to not go above that asking price. Now we're looking at Gordon Hayward, and we're grateful that we didn't go above and beyond to get him.
I might have drafted this. I'd rather have Evan Fournier than Gordon Hayward, to be honest.
At
least he's healthy.
Availability.
He's healthy, yep.
Availability
Yeah.
is more valuable than anything.
And
to
he's
me.
much cheaper on top of that too.
Exactly. Now the Detroit Pistons, I really felt like we had a chance to make a Detroit Pistons move, but I guess their asking price was too much for them too. Because it seemed like for a second there, all we had to do was draft a center, and truth be told, Durham still has not been drafted. There was a chance to do that. So maybe their asking price is also too high.
Yeah, like it was reported, like I guess the guy who's an insider with the Pistons, he said that for the Pistons to even move Ivy, that it would take a monumental deal, and clearly Leon Rose wasn't willing to do that. So,
right, yeah. Once again, man, the Knicks front office is showing patience. They're not overplaying their hand, and we're still waiting right now. We checking Twitter. I already see Lee checking Twitter to see what are the details of these first round picks. If these first round picks are 23 first round picks, multiple, I am through the moon happy because that is one of the deepest drafts in a long time. It's including high school players. It's including 7-foot guys who can do fadeaways in between the back, a la Kevin Durant. It's including who was people telling us about the other day?
Scoot Henderson.
Scoot Henderson.
Even I've seen some of his clips. Like, it looks like he's gonna be a good point guard. It's just that, oh boy, his 3-point percentage. He needs to get that up. 17% from three. Like, no, come on, my guy. You need to get the shooting percentage up from three. But he does look like he's gonna be a good point guard, though.
Right. And the thing is too, if we're able to move on from these veterans like Noel and Evan Fournier and Alec Burks, we can actually see more of a youth movement this season. So, if we do that, I don't. If we make the playoffs or not this year, I'll be happy to see more youth. I'll be extremely happy if we even end up moving Julius Randle at some point. But you already know how that is. I don't want to get too excited about that. Woo. But shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Shout out to Joe Long, Silver Gray, Luck Charm, Joe. Everybody else is rocking with the KOT show. Thanks for rocking with us, man. As you see, nothing has happened yet. We just happy to be smart and not give it up too much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're tired of the Knicks getting fleeced in these kind of deals. So if the Knicks can do the fleecing elsewhere, why not? Rather be on the other side of it.
Right, exactly.
We've been on the wrong side too many years in a row.
For real.
Exactly. Adele Chapman says, help me understand what's going on with this draft. Adele, if you don't know, we have traded out of this draft, it seems like. We still have the 42nd pick, but we have traded our 11th pick to OKC for multiple first-round picks.
Yeah. But I have a question for you guys, though, because now the Knicks still have the second-round pick. Do you think the Knicks are going to actually choose a player that they feel like can help the team, or are you going to think that they're going to probably draft a player that they'll probably stash for like 2 years in Europe or something like that?
I think a player that will help them, because I feel like a quarter of the roster is going to be gone by next season. I think a lot of these will be released or traded elsewhere, so we don't need some bodies. I think they do take a player to help us out on the perimeter.
Yeah, I think they do take like a two-way contract type of guy. I think I feel like why am I forgetting names right now? The center that we got last season. Sims. I feel like Sims might play like there's a possibility for Noel gone, because I feel like they're trying to move Noel. And Mitch here, that they're gonna have him here off of a two-way. So I feel like whoever we draft at 2 might get like a two-way deal. That's what I foresee happening anyway. And then the next season, we'll do it again.
And the report is in. Charlotte will pick Jalen Durham at 13. So Durham is off the board.
Yeah. We already knew Charlotte wanted the big man. I know they're pretty happy. They probably didn't feel like Jalen Durham was going to fall at 13. Charlotte got Jalen Durham at 13.
I actually like Durham. I actually like Durham for Charlotte because Charlotte struggles on defense a whole lot. Durham will definitely show up that paint defense, and then on top of that, he's athletic, and then you have LaMelo running point. Woo! Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Great pickup.
Super pickup. We got Biyombo Light over there. And
It's not official yet, but I really hope that trade with OKC is pure draft capital, like first and second rounders, definitely multiple first, and no players. Because I think it could be easy to see a guy like Derek Favors and want to like substitute a pick for Favors and bring Favors to New York because he do a little bit of a stretch five.
right.
I'm tired of these wasted vets, these washed vets. We got to move on from that type of mentality and just really invest in the culture of the youth. I hope it's strictly a draft trade and no players coming back.
I agree with you, man. I want strictly draft capital from these OKC Thunder, with the intent of either moving up in next year's draft or still staying on that disgruntled player hunt. Stay away from Kyrie Irving, though. Please stay away from Kyrie. Lord God, please stay away from Kyrie Irving.
It's kind of intriguing how the Knicks and Thunder have built a rapport since Leon Rose came on board. We've traded with them multiple times. I think there was like a 3-team trade that we were semi-involved in for Quickly, like 3 years ago. And then last year we traded in the second round McBride and Rokas, Earl. We traded Earl to them, and we got back 2 picks in the second round. This is the third year in a row we've traded with OKC.
It's interesting how like those relationships happen where once you trade with one team once, they kind of just like weren't willing to do it again.
Oh, wait. Hold on. What? Wait.
Then maybe they'd be willing to take on Julius Randle.
Wait. Sources: Hornets traded Jalen Durham to the Knicks.
What?
Sham just reported that.
No way.
Yeah, Sham just reported it.
What?
We traded twice? Wow.
So I'm trying to figure out: is this a deal to? Are they trying to make another deal, or
Are they still trying to? Are they still trying to trade for Ivy?
I don't know, cause.
What if this?
Wait! Jalen Durham is being rerouted to Detroit. What is happening? What is going on?
Are we trading for Ivy?
Are we trading for Ivy?
So Beckley just reported that Knicks are acquiring Jalen Durham from Charlotte, but then Detroit Insider is saying that Jalen Durham is being rerouted to Detroit.
What's happening right now? Don't mess with me.
Oh my God, dude! My heart's beating out of my chest.
So does that mean we're getting them OKC's picks and Jalen Durham?
I don't know.
That could be a mega package for Detroit. Multiple first rounders and Jalen Durham, the guy they wanted.
Yeah, because it says that Durham picked by Charlotte, headed to Knicks, and then off to Detroit.
My heart again, guys.
What's going on?
My heart again, guys.
What's going on?
My heart again, guys. I don't know what's happening. Because I've seen some people who's coming in right now. It looked like the Knicks had traded out of the draft a second ago and got multiple first-round picks from OKC. Charlotte just got Jalen Durham. There was rumors earlier that Detroit would make a trade with the Knicks if Jalen Durham was available. Then, just now it's been reported that Charlotte Hornets is sending Jalen Durham to the Knicks, which makes it seem that the Knicks might use him for Jaden Ivey.
And then now Detroit Insider is saying, to be honest, I don't know where Durham is going, but this sounds like a 3-team trade with Detroit, New York, and Charlotte.
A 3-team trade with Detroit, New York, and Charlotte. This is looking like Ivy. This is looking like Ivy, guys. This is looking like Ivy.
Don't get Ivy, bruh.
I'm gonna cry on camera. I'm gonna cry on camera if we get an Ivy.
Oh my God, yo, what's going on?
Masterful. Man? This is if the Knicks pull this off. If the Knicks are guys, are we getting Ivy? It all makes sense. For those guys who just, I don't want to get too excited, but it's the only thing that makes sense in my brain.
I'm trying to stay calm until all the details are in. I'm trying to stay calm.
All right, me chill. Me chill.
You know what? It's so funny. All of Pistons Twitter it's like Ivy to Detroit. Ivy feels like he's went home. His mom played for the Shock. Like, there's a lot of like good vibes right now happening.
Right.
Okay, so Woj is reporting Durant will ultimately go to Detroit.
Durant will ultimately go to Detroit. All right.
That's all we know so far.
That's all we know so far.
This is like happening even beyond Shams and Woj knowing what the hell is going on.
Man, okay. For those just tuning in, we have our guys scouring Twitter. All right. There was rumors earlier that Knicks could trade for Ivy if we got Durant.
Knicks are trading Kemba Walker to Detroit.
All right, Knicks are trading Kemba Walker to Detroit.
Okay, so that's a piece of the trade.
Knicks also supposedly receives first round picks from OKC. There was also a rumor that happened for like 3 seconds that Durant was going to the Knicks via Charlotte.
Okay, so Knicks acquired Jalen Durham and moved him with Kemba Walker to the Pistons, sources said.
Knicks acquired Jalen Durham. And this is from Woj?
Yeah, but they said they moved him with Kemba Walker to the Pistons.
This still okay. The Knicks are trading Jalen Durham and Kemba Walker to the Pistons. The Knicks are trading Jalen Durham and Kemba Walker to the Pistons. This still feels like an Ivy trade to me.
I don't understand how we can make a deal with the Pistons not get back Ivy. Like, that's like,
what are we getting back?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, they're still like Shams and Woj just like reporting pieces. They're not really like reporting the whole trade.
Like what? Okay. What does Detroit have?
May, Isaiah Stewart.
Cade, Isaiah Stewart. They're not trading Cade.
No, yeah, definitely not Cade.
May or Stewart.
Stewart. Do you think they would move Stewart now that they have? No,
the Pistons are getting Jalen Durham, and the Knicks, more crucially, for free agency matters, are shedding Kemba Walker's salary to Detroit to help fund their free agent pursuit of Jalen Brunson. Oh, so it's a salary cap move.
So we trade with Detroit and we don't get Ivy.
That's what Mark Stein just tweeted. It seems like it's more of a free up cap space move to try and go after Brunson.
It's a free up cap space move to go after Brunson. But we traded Durant? Did we trade Durant? I don't think Durant is ours. So to me,
Durant is definitely going to Detroit. Charlotte,
right.
Charlotte drafted Durant, and then the Knicks got involved in a 3-team deal, which I don't know. They said Durant went from Charlotte to New York to Detroit. And it seems like the Knicks are sending Durant with Kemba to Detroit to shed salary so they can pursue Jalen Brunson in free agency. That's what Mark Stein is reporting at the moment.
So we're using Durant as a salary dump. That don't even make sense. Is that why we're getting multiple firsts? Because we're trading Durant?
I would think that picks would be coming back to the Knicks if that's the,
right.
If that's the deal, yeah. Like
another piece of it. It looks at for Durant, the Pistons are saying the Hornets a 2025 first round pick via Milwaukee that they got back from Portland in the Jeremiah Grant trade.
Okay.
So it looks like we were involved in a 3-team deal with Detroit, and we didn't get Ivy. But what do we get? We haven't heard yet what we get yet.
We're not even sure.
We just probably got a bunch of firsts, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking there has to be draft capital. That's what I'm thinking.
Which I'm also fine with.
Yeah, I'm fine with it too.
Yeah.
It's not Ivy, but I'm fine with a bunch of firsts.
Yeah. We're all on the same page on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. And then Charlotte will pick Mark Williams at number 15. So Charlotte still gets their big man regardless.
Solid big man.
Yeah.
What do we think about the Knicks getting Jalen Durham and not keeping him? Is that something you think we're going to regret down the road? Because that also signals a recommitment to Mitchell Robinson. I would probably assuredly going to re-sign him now. When we have Durant in our hand, giving him up, it looks like we're for sure going to have him on the team next couple of years. How do y'all feel about that?
I don't mind it at all. Like I feel like Mitchell Robinson, he's gotten better over the years. I feel like no matter what, even if we were to move Robinson, I always said this, we need to keep him in the building. At least if he does move, we need to get assets for him. But at the end of the day, I feel like he's saved us so many times with his offensive rebounding, with his shot blocking. And this summer is the first time he's been healthy in a long time. So hopefully this is the summer we can actually start to build out wrinkles into his offensive game outside of just catching lobs. You know what I mean? But I'm cool with it. I'm definitely cool with it. I don't think it seems like the number isn't even too big either. I think the rumor was like 4 years, 44 million, which kind of roughly works out to around 11.5 million or something like that. So the number is not bad. He can still grow, and just work on your screens. Hit some free throws, which he's been doing. He's been working on. He's trying to get up to 80%. And then we can start to work out that outside game a little bit and see what happens. So I'm fine with it. And Rob mentioned this earlier too, that we would have to start over with developing a big man with this group if we drafted Durant, and it'll be like a little bit of a learning curve for him to reproduce what Mitch is doing this season. Now, maybe his ceiling might be a little higher because he's willing to take some jump shots. But even that, like, if you're looking at his tape, it doesn't seem like he doesn't really know when to shoot exactly. Yeah, he's still kind of raw on that side of the ball, even though he's kind of willing to take the shots. I don't know if there's anything to add to that, Ryan.
Yeah, throughout the season, I've definitely always been on the pay that man bandwagon.
Pay that man.
Exactly. So, I always thought that Mitch made, a lot of strides during his 4 years with the Knicks. I did kind of flirt with the idea of, in case they wouldn't be able to re-sign Mitch, Jalen Durham does seem like a viable option at number 11 that they can go with that could replace Mitch and provide that, similar defense and athleticism, etc. But I feel like, Mitch has definitely developed during his 4 years with the Knicks, and I feel like, as long as the contract is reasonable, they should stick with them. And according to reports, it seems like the contract is reasonable. It's about 4 years, 45 mil. So, as long as the contract is reasonable, I've always been on board with Mitch coming back.
Yeah. And honestly, Fritz says Durant is a nice passer. Yeah, Durant he's a pretty good passer. That's probably something that he has over Mitch. But Mitch's passing is a little bit underrated. Not to say he's not Jason Kidd or anything, but I've seen Mitch throw some nice little short roll passes every now and again. He just needs to be healthy. Mitch just needs to be healthy so he can develop. That's really what it is to me.
I think during the course of last season, what Mitch brings to the table was devalued because of the shift toward the floor spacing, 5 out, 3, space the floor. But in the playoffs, especially the finals, you had Time Lord versus Looney.
Yeah.
And that matchup, two guys that were traditional bigs for the most part, a little undersized, and no post moves, but very Mitch-like in terms of their timing on blocks, ability to impact the defense, to be able to rotate on the perimeter, to pull out and guard the three-point line. Mitch, if he had the shooting that Time Lord and Looney have with their respective teams, if Mitch was surrounded by three-point knockdown shooters, I think to have a lot more impact in the future years once we round out this roster with talent.
Absolutely. I've said that before with the Celtics, because I feel like Robin Williams' emergence has kind of helped people accept the traditional 5 again. But it works with the Celtics because of the same thing that you said. Robin Williams is surrounded by shooters. He has Mark, he has Tatum, he has Brown. All those guys are shooters. So Mitch not being able to shoot threes doesn't hurt as much. If doesn't really hurt you if RJ can start to hit threes. If we move Randall and we get and let Obi play that spot and he hits threes because I'm hoping Obi can hit three, and everybody else around can hit threes as well. So I agree with you there that this playoffs kind of shows that you can win with a traditional big, but also I feel like this also showed that certain matchups you have to kind of be flexible, and you still might need like a Mo Bamba or something depending on the matchup, because I do feel like Utah got beat because of their reluctancy to not play Gobert in the first few games, and they just penetrated, kick to the corner, three, penetrated, kick to the corner, three. And I feel like if they adapted a little faster and had like a stretch big, then something's gonna be different. And maybe it's not even a stretch big. Maybe it's just Tom Thibodeau's willingness to play small and play Obi and Randall together.
Yeah, but Utah outside of Gobert is terrible defensively. They don't have any switchable perimeter players outside of Royce O'Neal, but can do anything on a perimeter to shut down the three-point shot. So all of their defense is funneled toward Gobert to clean up every mistake that the point guard and shooting guard and small forward are doing once it passes the half-court line. A team like Golden State has so many switchable defenders. Looney can just stay on the block and really be a help side defender and a weak side blocking shots and getting offensive rebounds. It's a different situation that I think the Knicks can mimic what Golden State is doing defensively, not the championship juggernaut they are.
Right.
But defense better than what Utah built around Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, because the other four guys are around Gobert. All of them are like minus defenders, especially in the playoffs, are horrific.
Yeah, no, you're right about that.
Yeah.
Man. We need to modernize our play style in general, which is why I want multi-positional defenders on offense. I mean, multi-positional players on offense and defense all together. Absolutely right about that. You have anything to add there, Ryan? I feel like you want to say something.
No, I was just saying Atlanta's going to pick AJ Griffin.
Wow, man. Atlanta gets another 3-point shooter.
Yep.
Jeez, I can't believe AJ dropped so far.
Yeah, number 16.
16 pick of the draft, AJ Griffin.
It's funny because Fred Katz just tweeted a tremendous example of how confused the world is with the Knicks dealings right now. Text the source to ask if he knew which picks were going where. And he just mentioned Mark Williams going 15 to Charlotte and then said, somehow, I don't know, though.
Man. Yo, guys, we're trying to stay on so we can report what's actually happening, but nobody knows what's actually happening. So
yeah, that's funny.
Like the only thing I can be certain of is we got multiple first round picks. I think that's happening.
Yeah.
It looks like the questions that haven't been answered are, what are those picks in that trade, and then the 3-team one we were involved in with Charlotte and Detroit. What are we getting back in that? Because that's a separate situation from OKC.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if we're getting a player or a pick from Charlotte.
Right.
Because it looks like Detroit got Duran and Kemba from us. Which means we should be getting our capital or from Charlotte. So I'm interested to see what happens there.
Yeah, and Mark Stein just reported the Knicks figure to make at least one more move to continue creating salary cap space, full speed ahead on their bid to try to pry Jalen Brunson away from the Mavericks. So it seems like Knicks are all in on getting Jalen Brunson.
Man.
Disappointing, but it could be worse. It could be Brogdon, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, at least Brunson's healthy. You know, you can actually depend on him to play.
Yo, the Knicks really went out and got his dad. That's crazy, man.
Facts.
It was like, we got Pops on payroll. Like, look what we're willing to do for you. This all could be yours. Like, that's crazy, man.
That's something you should do for Giannis, not Jalen Brunson.
They're really going hard. They showed up. The Knicks showed up at the playoffs front row with William Wesley, Julius Randle, for better or for worse, and company, hired his dad, and now they're just clearing cap space. Like, man.
Pretty much. And now, this other insider just reported Knicks not projected to generate 18 million in cap space after getting off Kemba Walker and the 11th overall pick. 60 million is more realistic when keeping Mitch Robinson's cap hold in mind, so they can resign him after. So they're much closer to having enough cap space for Jalen Brunson. So everybody's reporting the Knicks are all in for Jalen Brunson.
Brock Aller.
Yeah,
Brock Aller.
man. Capologist.
Yep.
So there's been reports. So let's recap certain things that they talk about here. There's been reports that Mitchell Robinson is going to have a multi-year deal. So he hasn't signed it yet, of course, but from the plans, it looks like they probably told Mitch, we're going to sign your deal after we attempt to to sign Brunson. That's so I would expect after free agency and stuff happens that the Mitch deal is going to happen last. Like whatever happens first. So don't panic if Mitch doesn't get signed. If you were a guy for Mitch, don't panic that if he doesn't get signed at like 12:01. It looks like he's going to be signed last, and we're going to go after Jalen Brunson. And if we don't get Jalen Brunson, I imagine the Knicks have a board because they have a board for everything they do. They have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. They're probably going to try to go after him. They might try to go after Brogdon. They might try to go after Tyus. Who knows? But Mitch will probably be the last signing of the Knicks of this offseason because they can't go over the cap to sign Mitch Robinson if they have
I think 18 to $20 million is a fair number for Jalen Brunson. As someone who watched every Mad game last year, honestly, and the year before, and had been a fan of him mostly until the overhype, especially during that first round series, Jazz, just a team that quit. I think his stats were a little inflated against that terrible defense that he was playing against. I think 18 to 20 is a fair amount for him. I think that's market value. You would hope with his dad, Dolan, paying the checks, he can get a little bit of a family discount, even though the pop said there is no discount.
That's not happening.
If you're paying between 20 and 25 for Brunson, that's an overpay, and I see that as a bad signing, in my opinion.
They're looking at him like I always blank out on these names. The point guard who he signed in Toronto.
What was that?
Van Vliet.
Van Vliet signed for around that same amount. They signed Van Vliet signed for what, 26 million, 27 million. They probably feel like he's around that level and a caliber because of his playoff run and going to try to sign him to kind of Van Vliet money. And there is no discount. I always say when you're not making a lot of money in the NBA and this is your first contract, you're not leaving money on the table.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're not leaving money on the table. That just doesn't happen. And the thing is, there's a few things that happen with these young players, right? They either go for the money or they go for opportunity. Now, the Knicks can offer him both, right? The same reason why I feel like Kyrie left LeBron because he didn't want to be in LeBron's shadow. He wanted the opportunity to be the man and do his own thing. Is the same reason why Jalen Brunson can leave the Dallas Mavericks because he will always be under Luka's shadow if he stay with the Dallas Mavericks. And so does he value running his own team and getting more money than staying inside Luka? At his age and his first time getting a contract, there's a chance that that could be the case because when listen, man, when you're an athlete and you have that ego, I can do what I want. I just need opportunity. Of course, you're going to try to take the opportunity to take on more and get paid more to do it. Like I'm not like a big Brunson guy, but if I'm Brunson, I can see him doing that. Like I feel like when you're younger, winning is important, but it's not as important as when you're like 27, 28, 29, 30. I feel like it's like, all right, got paid? Okay, now I got paid. Now I got paid. All right, now it's time to win. Like, I feel like that's usually the order, the pecking order. It's very rare where like guys were like, I'm gonna take a pay cut to pay. Like that's not, that's some Miami Heat stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't happen often.
That Fred VanVleet comparison, I think, is a little flawed in that VanVleet, when he got that contract, just come off winning a championship and had been doing what he was doing for a few years and was probably the third or fourth best player on that championship team. Jalen Brunson's had one good playoff series.
No, you're right. Jerome James.
Yeah. PTSD, bro, when you just drop that name. Dark ages. And, Brunson wasn't great against the Clippers the last 2 years. He was more of like a bench spark. He was more in a primary role, especially in his first 3 games against Utah. But this is like one and done, man. We can't drop the bag for a point guard because we're so desperate positionally to finally fill that need. We still got to be prudent. As prudent as we've been in the draft, we need to be in free agency. And I think so far Leon and or Scott Perry have been that in the deals they've done. That Kemba Walker deal was frugal. Even the Evan Fournier deal was pretty frugal. The max for Joyce Randle was frugal. I'm hoping there's some conversation because of all the history and lineage between Leon, his father, and Brunson. We can get at least $22 million a year, so the contract's tradable a year or two from now.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Because if he doesn't produce the way we want to, then that contract all of a sudden is a negative asset or even a slightly negative asset. Because because it's funny because right now if you look at Evan Fournier's contract, it's not a super negative because he's performed well, but it's not actually a super positive either. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of just like a little bit in the middle. Some people might see it slightly negative. And I kind of feel because it was like a slight overpay, right? And I kind of feel like it can kind of happen like that. It could kind of happen like that for it could kind of happen like that for Brunson as well. It could kind of just be we paid him a little bit too much. He still might be producing at a good rate. But it still might be paying too much. But you know what? I don't see any new news. We can wrap this up soon. I'm really just waiting to see if there's
some new news.
All right.
No, they're just explaining the Knicks cap hold. So Fred Cash tweeted a big part of trading Kemba Walker. If the Knicks renounce Ryan Arkadiakono's cap hold and waive Taj Gibson, whose 2022-2023 salary is non-Knick guaranteed, they can open up $20 million in cap room. So it seems like those are the upcoming moves from the Knicks front office.
20 million, that's the number I like. 20 million for Jalen Brunson's a good number.
It's a good number.
That's a sweet spot for me.
Right. So they said they want to waive who? Taj Gibson and who else?
And renounce Ryan Arkadiakono's
Ryan!
Yeah.
Your namesake. Okay.
I know.
Yo, I don't like how they did Ryan last year during the end of the season when they was not passing my boy Ryan the ball when he was open, and he was doing all the dirty work on defense, and they never gave him the ball. So okay, all right, cool.
It's so sad that go ahead.
And I still feel like they still can move Noel. Like I still feel like they're gonna try to move Noel and Alec Burks to free up even more money. Like I feel like that's coming eventually.
Yeah.
I feel like that's coming eventually. But no news on the picks though. That's what I really
I'm trying to find out the picks, but nobody's reporting like what picks the Knicks got and stuff like that. Like we don't even know if the Knicks got anything from the Detroit and Charlotte deal. Like we don't even know what the Knicks got from that.
Right.
Besides them moving Kemba and freeing up cap space.
Gotcha.
It's kind of absurd that I'm arguing the minutia of a Jalen Brunson contract when he would immediately become the best point guard we've had since Stephon Marbury in 20 years. He's better than Jose Calderon, Chris Duhan, Raymond Felton. Like he's better than all those guys. Tony Douglas.
The thing with Jalen Brunson.
Can't argue that.
Here's the one thing I will say. Sometimes when a guy has opportunity, he performs better because he has more opportunity. And sometimes opportunity has a lot to do with how people view people and what people's ceilings are. I always refer back to I kind of always think about how James Harden was a second string at OKC, and then OKC, then the Rockets gave him the bag, and all of a sudden he was an all-star, right? Like they had the foresight to see that there was something there beforehand, and nobody saw him as a guy who could be the man until he was actually the man, and now it's obvious to everybody. The only thing I can say is, well, you know what? This might be his first opportunity to see if Brunson can be the man on the team and step it up. He's always had good percentages. He's going to compete, and he's not scared. So I do like that about that. And if we overpay for him a little bit and he produces, fine. But he just has to produce. But at the end of the day, I'm still team IQ. I'd rather roll the dice with IQ. But if the Knicks are doing this, I don't think it's the worst move in the world.
Agreed.
I don't think it's worse in the world, and that's all I have to say about that. And I can cap the show here, man, because I just want to. It looks like I'm not sure if any news gonna come on tonight. I don't think any. I really just want to know what the Knicks actually got.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, very curious. We might not know for tomorrow.
Right, and if that's it, we can wrap it up now. We can wrap it up right now, and just stay tuned. Still, stay committed. Stay close to our Twitter and our Instagram, because we will be reposting and posting news on Twitter and Instagram, any news updates from these Knicks draft tonight. So that's what it looks like it is. We got some picks. We got rid of Kemba Walker, and we're going full steam ahead on Jalen Brunson. Hopefully we got some picks for 2023 to make a bigger move next season or go after a disgruntled star. And shout out to Brock Aller for his moves. And
yeah, that's a win.
Yeah, it's a win. It's not exciting. We didn't get Jaden Ivey, but we didn't lose either. Right. All right, yo. Thanks for watching. If you like the show, please hit the like button, subscribe button, and we'll see us. Look, it's free agent season is coming. You'll see us during free agent season as well. Talk about free agents and everything that's happening with Knicks Nation. All right. Cool, and cool. Yo, Lee, let them know, man. Good job, Lee. Nice having you on the show. Let them know where they can find you, Lee.
No doubt, man. I'm a regular contributor to Posting and Toasting for SB Nation. Also a weekly regular contributor to Deadspin on all things NBA. My Knicks coverage is centered to Posting and Toasting. I write about the entire league, the culture behind the league, and the history of the league for Deadspin on the NBA vertical.
All right, so shout out to Lee, man, who's he done a great job talking Knicks with us, man. Definitely gonna have you back for sure. Ryan, let us know where they can find you, sir.
You can find me on Instagram at Sir G is chillin'.
Sir G is chillin'.
That's SIR. G is CHILLIN. You can also find me at Sir G's Corner. Content is coming soon. You can find me on Twitter at RyanGKOT. And also, I got my financial agent license. So, if anybody needs help with their finances, secure their financial future, you can hit me up as well. Just hit me up on any of my social media handles, and we can, definitely get to that.
All right. And shout out to those guys, the new subscribers who I just saw subscribe to the channel. And also, you already know where to find me. Find us. You can find us at the KOT Show on Twitter, Nick Time Show on Instagram, Nick Time Show on Facebook. You can get our hats, our snapbacks at thenicktimeshow.com. You can also listen to us on all podcast forms, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and all that noise as well. And yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back to talk Knicks Nation, and I'm still working on some other stuff in the future as well. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah. Before we go, Begley just reported that Kemba Walker will be sent to Pistons by Knicks in a deal that landed Jalen Durham in Detroit. Sources confirm if deal is complete, New York sheds Walker's 2022-2023 salary, but needs to essentially attach a first-round pick to do it.
Oh, so we have to attach it first to get rid of Walker.
Yeah.
Interesting. Why we have to?
I hope it's a Mavs pick.
I
hope it's a Mavs pick and not one of ours.
Right.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Right. Dang, I was he was an expiring. I was hoping it would take a second and not a first. You know what I'm saying? But maybe
that shows how washed he is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Since he was an expiring, I thought it was gonna take a second. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think it was gonna take a first. Yeesh. All right. Yikes. Well, that would be a bad signing. But once you gotta give up first to get rid of some guy, that's a bad signing. But low risk or not, that was a bad signing now. All right, that is our show. Thank you guys for watching. And as always,
Shout out the World Wide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
it's a mess out here in these Knicks Twitter streets. That's our show. We are out of here.
Peace.